Graviton Surge, less so, and even the EMP Shatters not landing all the time. Boostio definitely struggling at moments to land that combo when the rest of his team is getting picked off. Atlanta Academy is just, by the way, a team that plays with time and tempo so well because they're so comfortable with each other and the kinds of comms that they like to run. There's no hesitation. It seems like they don't really need any time to compute any of these decisions. It just happens naturally.
Who do you even hack with your Boostio, right? Because everyone knows their job, and he's going to be forced to translocate away. He was taken very low, and Gator going to take the Zenyatta out. And you mentioned during the break that you'd like to see him on the Zenyatta. Gator was like, I'm going to eat Astro for lunch. Instead, we're going to see the first emote now coming in from Atlanta Academy, and this is where one or two things might happen. Atlanta Academy has gotten, I'm going to say it, cocky at times, and they've given up points because of it. Atlanta Academy can't let that get too ahead of themselves, but Gator already has Shatter. That's pretty impressive.
No, Winston, it's just a strategic pumpkin smashing this time around as Skyfox is still looking for their first ultimate. It's actually going to be Clone Man who's leading that charge, but Gator already has Shatter ready. They smell blood in the water, and Moon is immediately deleted.
There's a trade going on the other side, but if you're going to lose someone right now, it's going to be that Lucio. He's going to be back in no time, as Atlanta Academy also have the Coalescence and Shatter. It's still the two ultimates for Atlanta Academy, none so far for Skyfox. Now coming up onto that EMP, and really what Skyfoxes needed was for that EMP to come online before they can really go onto the objective and really try for an actual push. But Boostio consistently is low coming into these fights. He's going to have to get healed up. The EMP is there. Now it's all up to Clone Man to try to get that Shatter. If they're going to try to do is the Earth Shatter now coming from Skater, going to hit a whole lot of nothing, and now the EMP coming the other way. It's going to hit 4. Kodak, though, able to get the Coalescence off, keep his team alive, but not for long. If you're Sugar Free, Saucy going to get his Graviton Surge out. It almost looks like it might have gotten canceled. Is Boostio going to fall once more? And this is what Atlanta Academy is all about. Even when they lose those members, even when Skyfoxes feel a little bit of hope, Atlanta Academy are able to bring it back and grind it out.
Sans their main tank and sans their primary damage dealer, Atlanta Academy still managed to hold on. And Skyfox has got to be feeling a little bit frustrated at this point. Nothing that they throw Atlanta's way seems to really be working. Lastro on this Zenyatta is going to be much more vulnerable to a rush by Atlanta Academy, but he could help the rest of Skyfox and just burn down those shields a little bit faster.
Una is going to use that Graviton Surge. Kodak is so low, they are able to find him. That's huge heal for them. As Earth Shatter, though, coming the other way, is going to knock Lastro onto the ground, and they're able to take the Zenyatta out of the field. Conan as well. Just the team-oriented play coming in from Atlanta Academy is bar none some of the best we see in North American contenders. They don't freak out ever. They always seem like they're in control, even at those man disadvantages. Kodak goes down. Gator's going to get his back. Then Hawk is going to follow up with that damage as well.
I wonder if somebody on Atlanta Academy has like a spreadsheet. It's okay, these are all the scenarios, guys. If Kodak gets picked first, then Gator goes in real hot. If Gator dies first, well then Hawk and Saucy pick up the slack.
Dr. Strange is their coach, right? They know all of the realities. This one might look like a golden season as Skyfoxes do have the EMP and Shatter combo very close to being ready. The Transcendence is another really great way to make sure that all of that goes according to plan. There is a Graviton Surge on the other side, though, so Lashler is going to have to use that Transcendence to counter that Graviton Surge. Atlanta Academy now on the defensive side with 3 ultimates, potentially 5 if Hawk is able to burst his way up. Skyfoxes are going to have 4. Who lagging behind on that Graviton Surge. Now the EMP goes through, the Shatter does as well, but not a ton of value, as Gator going to be the only one on the ground, and Skyfox is going to find themselves going back to spawn.
Oh no, I was going to say one of those potential futures could have been Lastro completely nullifying Kodak's Transcendence or Coalescence with his own trans, but potentially getting just too comfortable here. It is now 1 second left, no overtime even for Skyfoxes. Atlanta Academy full hold. Man, again, this is just really unlucky, really unlucky. Be it Lastro on Zenyatta, I was going to say, can open things up with a pick. He's done it before, not just for Skyfoxes and not just against Atlanta Academy, but bar that, Ultimates should have won Skyfoxes that match. They should have won that fight. And Funny Astro was nowhere near that sound barrier. Once that Coalescence goes down, Skyfoxes come out of that Transcendence, healthy, whole, hail, and where is Atlanta Academy? Now they have to make up for that deficit. But even starting that engagement, something that I wanted to point out is Atlanta Academy playing very disciplined. they've certainly taken this more seriously. You can tell that their positioning is always very careful. They always hold the high ground. They never make it easy. If Boostio wants to EMP us, well, he either needs to risk getting detected, stunned out of his stealth,
potentially
or
die too.
Potentially die, or he's only going to catch some of us. Every Sombra wants to catch that back line, but Atlanta Academy make it so he can never get both. It's either or. And for Skyfoxes, that's just not enough a lot of those times. It feels that even if Atlanta Academy, all 6 of them are EMP. I mean, Boostio's got a 5-man EMP against them at times, still doesn't really seem to matter because the rest of Skyfoxes aren't ready to capitalize.
Unfortunately, the Shatter from Cloman only found Gator during that EMP Shatter combo last time around, and they were putting all of their hopes into that combo, and I think that's a great idea. And if I'm going to depend on anyone on Skyfoxes, it's Clone Man. We've called him Clutch Man in the past. He seems to come alive when things look the most dire. This is that situation. Remember, a draw would take away the golden season as well, so if somehow they're able to defend here on point A, Skyfoxes could take it away from Atlanta Academy. Atlanta Academy now on the offense. They've already rotated to a good position to try to attack the objective, and Karkar going to have to get the repair pack already taken very low. Karkar has had a little bit of an issue staying alive. So Fire Strike is only going to hit the ground, and they're going to find themselves on the objective. They're forcing Skyfoxes to react, and that's something Atlanta Academy love to do. Hey, you have to come to us. You're on the objective, and even though Attitudes find that pick, looking at these old charges, Atlanta Academy should be able to stay here for a little while longer. Boostio, though, getting pretty close to that EMP. That's going to be a really great way to cancel this Coalescence, which he does. Atlanta Academy now 5 members are going to be hacked. Ome gets that pick. Skyfoxes need to go for the juggler, like we said, and that they finally do. They rebuff Atlanta Academy. So there's still 3 minutes left for ATL.
Everything else needs to go perfect from this moment on. Skyfoxes are going to be very buoyed, though, by this early defense. Well, if they weren't, then that means that would have just lost the whole map. Boostio again trying to go for a little bit of charge. Atlanta Academy now, though, have tools to work with, and this is when the team is at its most deadly. Kodak will get Coalescence. It's not even a question at this point. In the duration of this fight, how is Skyfoxes going to respond?
Graviton Surge is going to lock them up. Earthshatter is going to be there to counter. Not a ton of value coming in from Atlanta Academy's ultimates. They're investing all of them into this fight, and Skyfoxes are going to continue their advantage. Good news for Skyfoxes as well as Boostio is going to be coming up on another EMP. They're metering this Grav and EMP very well. Atlanta Academy now struggling a little bit here at Point A Hollywood.
However, you can never rest. Boostio has EMP. He is the key to a continued defense for Skyfoxes. Getting stunned out, getting detected is not an option. He has to stay safe. Skyfoxes need to keep him safe. Lastro with an excellent sleep onto Hawk there, by the way, so you can see as Skyfoxes getting used to that play style, keeping their eyes out for where Atlanta Academy like to engage and looking for those opportunities.
Gator's going to find himself on the objective proper as Boostio's going to be in the back line, potentially going to force the Coalescence out. He's going to go ahead and use the EMP before the Coalescence comes out. Hawk has already slept, so the Defense Matrix isn't going to help, and this is now looking pretty bad for Skyfox. No kills from the EMP, unable to take Hawk out of the mech, and now with the Overshield, it's going to be up to Hoon and a Graviton Surge to bring this right back. Karkar used the Sound Barrier. I didn't see a ton of shielding. Might have gotten cancels. Atlanta Academy, though, losing 2 members. They got to figure something out, as now Hawk has that kill against the Zarya. Graviton Surge now coming in from Atlanta Academy. This is going to be it for Skyfoxes, especially with this pin. Slowly but surely, though, Atlanta Academy seems to be losing a little bit of their mojo, as Atlanta Academy now down to under a minute left. They should wrap this up 1 map away from a golden season, but on Havana, they have struggled more on that map than any map we've seen this season. Phase 2 almost took that map away from them in week 1. Let's see if Skyfoxes will be able to do it. And something else we've noticed about Atlanta Academy is we've gotten to see them through the season. Maps 1, 2, 3, easy as pie. Map 4, they tend to get a little fatigued.
Yep, it's just one of those things when you start the race so hot and heavy and you're racing to put as much distance between you and your opponents as possible, you can peter out towards the end. Skyfox is going to be hoping for a little bit of help because, as I said, despite great sleeps from Lastro, despite good hacks from Boostio, good EMPs with follow-through, it's really a crapshoot as to whether or not the focus fire burns Atlanta Academy down. You can hold your defense for 4 out of 5 times, but that 5th time is what's going to kill you.
It's not about winning all of the fights, right? It's about winning the right ones. And Skyfox is the scary thing for them is Boostio, much better here on Hollywood. Lastro, much better here on Hollywood. Still lost.
Still lost. It's just that case of focus fire. It's really difficult. When you're playing against Atlanta Academy, you can't just be taking the opportunities that present themselves to you. You have to be making it happen for yourself. It takes a ton of proactivity. You're juggling a million things all at once. There are so many factors, especially in the Goats v Goats matchup, because as hard of a time as I give Goats, it is certainly one of the most nuanced metas that we have experienced in Overwatch. So Skyfoxes trying their darndest. They still have a shot here on Havana, Atlanta's weakest map type.
And so Atlanta, weakest in terms of where they've struggled. They had to go an extra round on Havana. They had to complete Havana against Grunto and then beat their next push.
It wasn't a full hold, my God.
I know, right? And Skyfox is unable to get anything done here. And if their offense was a little bit better, then we might still be on Hollywood. But Atlanta Academy taken to the brink here. It was under a minute before they were able to capture this point, and Cloneman was a big reason, Busio, big reason why they were able to challenge Atlanta Academy. This is shaping up to be an amazing Havana, and I'm so excited that we get to be here for it.
Yep, it's all down to the wire. Is Lastro going to be on Ana? Is he going to be on Zenyatta? The Nano Boost doesn't seem to honestly do much for Skyfoxes. Said it before, but weaponizing a single player is not enough against Atlanta Academy, because if they have more than one person alive, they seem to win those matches all the time, consistently. So Lastro on the Zenyatta at least able to use the volley to find some opening picks, and actually that was where Skyfoxes looked the best on Hollywood, was when he was on the Zenyatta. Of course, he's also great for the Transcendence. Coalescence ain't going to be doing nothing against your 300 HPS. Granted, you time it correctly. Oh, that mistrans is just so painful.
Well, I think really we saw it in the highlight package. The EMP single man shatter coming in from Boostio / Cloneman was the death knell for their Hollywood offense. And we know that Atlanta has had a very hard time dealing with that combo, particularly on this map. They got to find a way to do it a little bit more consistently. Grunto came alive on Havana the last time that they were against Atlanta Academy with that same strategy. And so we know it works. If they read their tape, if the coaches did their research, they know that EMP Shatter can be how they bring them down. It was the only time I've ever seen Kodak get forced off of Moira. He was on Ana earlier, but that was his choice. In that game, he was forced off of the Moira, and they almost lost that map.
Almost. It was very, very close. It is about that production, though. Racing to see who gets those ultimates first, because what we saw in the earlier half still holds true in the second, is that Skyfoxes need more ultimates to win the same fights than Atlanta does, who often really just resting off the back of that Coalescence. Shatter, no shatter, fine. It's just a cherry on top.
We all like some cherries on the top indeed, but Atlanta has too many of them. They get to drop the whole jar onto the ice cream and just revel in the amount of cherries that they're able to put on top of their desserts, right? And that just goes to show how good they function. We've called them a hive mind before, where there's an amazing play last week where Gator on Winston jumps into the back line. Who's right behind him? Hawk with the defense matrix. Who's right behind him? Sugar Free. When they
Boom.
Yeah, exactly. And then you got the Coalescence coming right in when Gator is low. And so, like you said, it's like they have a spreadsheet. It's like Dr. Strange is their coach. They know how a lot of these fights will end up, but what they don't know how to do is lose. And so if a team is able to consistently get them to push their head against the wall and consistently get them to fail 3 or 4 pushes in a row, that's when Atlanta start to crumble. And so far today, we saw it a little bit on that first hold on Hollywood for Skyfoxes. We saw it a little bit on Ruins, but just a tad.
If Gator can't strategic shuffle, you know you're doing something right. Skyfoxes, they have all the pieces, but is now the right time? Do they have them at the ready? Will it come together? The scariest thing about Kodak's Coalescence is that it can be used defensively and offensively. Dual purpose healing and damage. So whereas Zenyatta's have to make that extremely tough decision, do I trans right now to save my Reinhardt? Or do I save Transcendence, let my Reinhardt die for a maybe Graviton Surge coming our way? A lot of times you're just going to lose that fight right out. And it could be because the other team is pushing their advantage, could be because of that hesitation. And I think right now, Skyfoxes are feeling the effects of that hesitation. Lastro certainly hesitating on Hollywood in terms of whether or not to invest that Transcendence. And it did end up biting Skyfoxes in the butt.
In terms of Havana and team comps, I think Sombra gets a little bit better here. He's going to have a little bit more leeway to EMP, and there's going to be a little bit more space for the Shatter to follow up. And there's not a ton of nooks and crannies. When you think about Rialto, all you think about is corners, right? And Rialto, and right angles, right? And here on Havana, it's a little less so. It's a little bit more open, especially right out of spawn. And so
there's a lot of high ground to work with here.
Exactly. And one of the big differences between Atlanta Academy and Envy is when Envy wins their map, they push. They choose to go on offense most of the time and set that tempo, whereas Atlanta Academy are going to be on the defensive side after winning that last map. And it's very interesting how teams kind of decide what they find to be a little bit better than others as we do enter this map, and Kodak and the rest of Atlanta Academy are going to be able to keep them in spawn for the time being. Remember, they're one map away from that golden season. Nice biotic grenade, though, is going to color Kodak purple, but look at this already, 60% on that Coalescence. He's not going to be able to shift away if they're able to get onto Kodak, even though he is hacked. And they've all actually switched places here as Skyfox is in a pretty bad position to try to take that payload. They've got to find picks somewhere. A lot of them are pretty unhealthy, and Kodak already using the Coalescence. Immortality Field is going to be the first to fall. Next will be Clone Man. Next will probably be the rest of Skyfoxes, as they're going to have to try to break out of spawn a little bit later.
I really liked the debate, the wraparound debate by Skyfoxes. Very often we see teams frustrated for 2+ minutes right at their own front doors, but Skyfoxes go for the debate. They wrap around, get a little bit of distance on the cart. Unfortunately, the Coalescence comes out too quickly for them to do anything about it.
EMP goes through. This might be bad news for Atlanta Academy. 6 members of Atlanta Academy are going to be hacked, but only 1 kill for Skyfoxes. Immortality Field is going to be taken down. Atlanta Academy able to rebuff a lot of the cooldowns from the Skyfoxes, even though they got 6-man EMP'd. Graviton Surge now out for Saucy. Gator getting another kill to solve for them. Huge shatter now from Gator. Is going to knock 3 onto the ground. Still no follow-up kills, but this is really good for Atlanta Academy because they've been able to force a lot of the ults that Skyfox were able to get in spawn out in this fight, so they're not going to have to deal with the sound barrier later when it might be that make-or-break situation for them, as Atlanta Academy finally do see, but they take about 2 minutes off the clock before they do.
I remember back when spawn camping was a new thing in Overwatch, and Selfless with Sinatra and Train and Bull would spawn camp on Kings Row, and everybody's like, what? Why are you spawn camping? You think you're going to be able to hold us here forever? No, the goal is to get you to use ultimates when you don't want to use them, just to get out of spawn.
Oh, potential big bomb coming in for Atlanta Academy. Hawk did get it to the back line. He's actually zoning Attitude and Lucio right now, as Lucio now has the EMP, 5-man EMP now into Atlanta Academy. Hawk unable to use that self-destruct as he was hacked, and here is that combo. Not the EMP shatter, but just EMP into the regular damage going on to Atlanta Academy. And we're seeing a little bit of that sluggishness from Atlanta Academy this time around as well. Kodak just not performing as well on this Warrior as he has been the rest of the series, but there is still time for Atlanta to come back and defend.
Certainly, and Hawk can buy a lot of space with just that bomb. Kodak can open with Coalescence. A big part of Skyfox's last successful push was Lastro's anti-nade. Let's see if he can do it again.
Big sleep onto Gator. The sound barrier that was going to keep everyone from Atlanta Academy alive. Lucio has got a sliver of health to self-destruct. He's not going to do anything. Earthshatter now coming from Gator. He's going to knock 2 onto the ground. Bone Man and Hoon are potentially going to fall, but just Hoon goes back to spawn. Amplification Matrix, though, going to bring Skyfoxes back in terms of damage, but something that Atlanta Academy has done every single time that Amp Matrix has come is they just push in front of it. If you can't shoot through it, then you can't shoot at us.
Exactly. That Amp Matrix positioning is incredible.
Oh, no!
Oh, the sneak! Oh, man, alive. That is a true letter number, folks. Boostio. Oh, I'm going to be feeling so good about that. Atlanta Academy, talk
That's
about
some cockiness,
taking your
if I'm saying it.
Taking your eyes off the ball.
Oh my goodness. Skyfox is now going to have that EMP, 6-man EMP. Gator still alive. Kodak being able to push that healing even when hacked. That's a good thing for Moira. Trey is going both sides. 5v5 now. Kodak is slept. Graviton Surge now from Asasi is going to lock Skyfoxes up, but still no kills. That Graviton Surge actually not good coming in from Saucy. Earthshatter now to knock Kodak onto the ground. Cloneman and team are going to be able to push through here into the distillery. Sugar Free is going to fall thanks to that charge, and Atlanta Academy might be kicking themselves in the butt for letting that payload get to that point. If they lose this map, that's why.
Yep, that's definitely why, because now Skyfoxes are in Atlanta's heads. Now they have to be constantly watching behind them. They always knew that the Sombra was there, but now they've tasted the consequences. Skyfox are going to see how far they can run with this momentum. They are on the high ground here. Don't give any space for free. Make Atlanta work for it. Lucio very close to yet another EMP.
Atlanta Academy now going to use their rally as well, so everyone has that armor. Sugar Free already on the ground, sleeping. 3 members of Atlanta Academy. Hack Coalescence not finding a ton of value this time around here on Havana, as Skyfoxes have that 65. Earthshatter goes through, so does the sound barrier, though, as Atlanta Academy are going to be able to find that pick onto Lastro. Funny Astro is actually in the back line trying to boot Codeman into the rest of his team, and they're able to isolate and take Codeman down. Really good surgical position coming in from Atlanta Academy in a precarious situation for them. Let's go ahead and look at ultimates for Skyfoxes now.
Yeah, Cloneman does have Shatter. Nano is at the ready. Sound Barrier also available. So the next fight is going to look pretty good for Skyfoxes. Of course, the question is, do we ever get there? Skyfox is trying to go for the isolation play and somewhat successful off the back of some short charges by Cloneman, but Atlanta Academy wrote the textbook on isolation. You can see the way that Hawk and the rest of Atlanta Academy bullied Cloneman to death. And with 60 seconds left, Skyfoxes don't have another opportunity if they make a mistake.
You grab before the EMP, and you grab after the trench. It's actually already been forced for Bucio, so he's going to have to rejoin the team. It's a really good opportunity for Atlanta Academy to try to get a pick. They tried, and they fail. A Sugar Free going to fall victim to Cloneman. EMP's going to be up here very shortly. Shatter going to see it, though. Sound barriers there, so is the EMP. Self-destruct, though, coming in from the Hawk is going to take Bucio down, bringing Atlanta Academy right back into this fight. But Hawk was hacked and unable to make it back into his mech. But again, Hawk is hacked, Sugar Free and Saucy. They come back, get those kills. Skyfox is unable to make any more progress here. There's only 16 seconds left, and Atlanta Academy are in position to stop it here in the distillery.
They still have to close this fight out, though. They only have Funny Astro Sound Barrier. Kodak's Coalescence a little bit away, and Boone racing to get that Graviton Surge before Atlanta Academy can react.
Boone needs to get to this grab. He dies before it, then so do Skyfoxes. But Car will fall first. Boone and Cloneman are both going to get scattered, and Boone falls before the grab can come out. Down there, now she's doing everyone from Atlanta Academy nice and healthy. They still have a 6-man team. Shatter is not going to be enough for Skyfox. They get stopped halfway through Distillery, and Atlanta Academy know what they need to do to finish their perfect season.
It's within their grasp. It's so close. They can taste it. I'm guessing salted caramel, granola, something delicious,
Something
golden colored.
sugar-free, Ham. Come on.
Oh, it can be sugar-free caramel.
How's that? Isn't
You know,
caramel
just
made from sugar?
You just melt a giant pot of aspartame. I don't know.
Okay.
Don't take cooking tips from HamTornado. Skyfoxes, though, so close, but in the end, when the pressure started to mount, they were cracking under that strain. Started losing grasp of the environment. Saucy was living on the high ground the whole time again, and that's just space you can't allow for them to have, because other teams might not take advantage, but Atlanta Academy is going to press that every which way that they can. And when we talk about Atlanta Academy's hive mind, it doesn't mean that they're all just grouped up behind Gator's shield all the time. Face taking behind it as one. We saw from Saucy's point of view, a lot of times he was utilizing those hallways to work at off angles, making it so that Skyfoxes have to focus on one or the other, but they can never catch all of Atlanta Academy at once. Hawk also really good with his positioning just in general.
One of the best.
One of the best. And Skyfoxes having to make that decision as to who we focus. But even when they do, I understand the hesitation, because Atlanta Academy seemed to be able to bounce back from anything. Saucy, definitely a large part of that, though, keeping himself safe at all times while shelling out an enormous amount of damage.
Atlanta Academy going one last ride as well on the original version of Goats with the Moira. They've already been able to make it onto the payload. Look at Gator, absolutely no fear. Kodak already finding that kill, but a DMAC onto Hawk's going to make things a little bit harder for Atlanta Academy to try to get onto this payload, but Skyfox seems to be seeding the base, and this is bad news for them because we saw how long it took for Skyfoxes to break out of Spawn. It took a sound barrier, it took an Ant Matrix, took an EMP, and Atlanta Academy were able to make it out of Spawn a minute and a half before Skyfoxes were able to do the same thing.
Everybody on the Atlanta Academy is working not just to help themselves, but to help their teammates. You saw from Hoon's point of view right there, he was backing off, Saucy was lasering him down, and what comes in but a boop from Funny Astro knocks Hoon back into Saucy's line of sight. That's the kind of teamwork that makes it so difficult to win against Atlanta Academy, because they're able to see outside of their own bubbles to what's going to benefit them in the long run the most.
Coalescence is going to try to force Boostio out. The Amplification Matrix and Mortality Field, though, aren't going to be enough to stop Atlanta Academy. Doesn't matter if you have EMP, if you're the only one alive. Skyfoxes will be ceding this point. Atlanta Academy will get even more time in the time bank. 5 minutes and 11 seconds to beat Skyfox's mark.
Atlanta Academy currently speedrunning Overwatch, and Skyfoxes, wait, what? Huh? What? Where are we playing? Boostio will finally have this EMP hopefully in position to let it loose. But again, Atlanta Academy, they've read the spreadsheets. They know where Sombras love to hang out, and Boostio can't walk forward without the threat of being found out.
He's trying to look for that EMP. However, they got the EMP Shatter combo. If Skyfoxes don't survive this fight, then it will be Atlanta Academy's golden season. They've got such a massive ultimate advantage. The question here is, you also institute the Graviton Surge. The EMP is there. Only 3 members of Atlanta Academy can get hacked, and none of them will perish. A hack on the Funny Astro, though, is going to keep him on the ground for now. Boostio going to find a pick onto Sugar Free as well. Transcendence going to be used along with the Immortality Field. You probably don't want to get those layered on top like you just saw. Clone going to be charging into the rest of Atlanta Academy, and now Atlanta Academy can rubber band right back, especially with that self-destruct kill onto that Zarya. Translocating now for Boostio. Skyfox is still maintaining a little bit of a defense, so paper thin right now, especially with the sound barrier coming through. The Amplification Matrix a little too far in the front, and the Coalescence is gonna find that Batiste Arcar might be the one that's gonna be funneled next, but with 3 minutes and 56 seconds left and just a few meters away from a golden season, that golden box of victory has a whole new meaning for Atlanta Academy. If Atlanta Academy are able to clean this up, they will have done something no other North American team has done before, and that is get the golden season. It is perfect, my friends. No losses, no map losses, just absolute utter domination throughout an entire 7-week season of Overwatch. Congratulations, Atlanta Academy, for making history.
A definite round of applause all around. Atlanta Academy, I mean, it's years from now when we're like, what was GOATS? No Rolock, 3 tanks, and 3 supports. This is the video clip that they're going to play. Absolute domination across Havana. I mean, we were like, oh my God, maybe they're going to lose it. Maybe
they were kind of
drop
holed up
Havana,
on Hollywood, right?
It
It
was
took
a little
them 3 minutes to get
like
the first point.
they didn't full hold on Havana. The sky's falling,
They
but
C9'd.
yeah, but Atlanta Academy is still just so incredibly dominant. And again, just very, very small moments that make the difference between a hold and a loss against a team like Atlanta. So you saw Funny Astro skating behind the team. And this time around, he wasn't going for any funny boops or anything like that, just existing in that Lucio wall space. But that's the kind of thing that you would never be able to run against Atlanta themselves. In an instant, bash, stun, deletion. And Skyfoxes having to deal with a ton else on their plate at that exact same moment, kind of just let that Lucio fly by. This time around didn't really matter, but Atlanta Academy is always able to push those kinds of advantages. And then on the flip side, speaking of unforced errors, oh no, Clone Man. That charge is just, it only takes a millimeter, and that's the hard thing. You have no room to work with.
He wasn't the person making that mistake, right? He wasn't the one making the mistakes, but he made the one that ended up mattering the most. He missed the charge and then gets isolated and taken down, helping
and no
Atlanta.
Shield, then Hawk gets a bomb
Let's
kill.
not talk about how Skyfoxes might have given Atlanta Academy that golden season, because they earned it. They earned every win. They were dominant through 95% of those maps. Only a couple teams on a couple maps even made it close. Atlanta Academy having one of the most dominant seasons that North American contenders have ever seen. And speaking of end of season, that's going to be the end of the regular season in terms of us casting, as Evie and Avast will be next for the next 2 games. Thank you so much for letting us yell over these games for a 3rd season this time around. We're so honored to be able to provide that for you, and we're really excited to be able to come back for playoffs and see who will reign supreme in both of these groups. But for now, we're going to go ahead and throw it to break, and ZP and Avast will be back for the next call. See you soon.